I said I was in Boston, but to be totally accurate, I should have said Medford, Massachusetts. For that city, 5 miles outside of Boston, is the home of Tufts University. Tufts was founded in 1852, has about 5,000 undergrads, and competes in NCAA Division III. And in the interest of accuracy, let's talk about the first collegiate football game. Most people say a game between Rutgers and Princeton in 1869 was the first football game, but they'll tell you here at Tufts that those two teams really were playing a sport closer to soccer, and that the first real football game between two American colleges was in 1875. In that game, players were allowed to pick up the ball and run with it, and the play ended when the runner was tackled. That game took place between Harvard and, you guessed it, Tufts, and it was a big win for Tufts by a score of 1-0. Don't ask me how they kept score back then, but I will tell you they are still keeping score, both on the athletic fields and on the stage. On the track team, where they keep score in inches and feet, brother and sister Paula and David Dormon measure up quite well.
Paula is a great thrower. She's exceptional given her size. She's really explosive and dynamic, and I think all of those ingredients add to her being an exceptional thrower.
Paula's been throwing for years, and she throws everything: the shot, the discus, the hammer, and the javelin. And it was Paula who threw little brother David the challenge of going out for track.
David has played a lot of sports in the past: football, lacrosse, everything, and he just seemed very explosive, and I thought that would translate well into the throwing circle. We fooled around with the shot put and discus a little bit, and he's took to it well.
I'm not quite there yet, use my arms too much. So I really look at her form as a model, her speed through the circle and her form as a model of how I should get better.
Once you have the technique down, you almost have to feel the rhythm of it. When you're throwing discus, you always have to keep your head back and keep your arm back so you get the drag, and you just have to know what feels right and what doesn't feel right. So yeah, I would say it has rhythm in it.
Ah, the rhythm. Paula and David both have the rhythm, and that has led them from the track into a totally different arena.
Me, my brother, and my boyfriend, we were in the basement just making songs, and we just kept making songs, and we got more attached to it. And then we found Zach from gospel choir, and it all came together after that.
I always rapped since I can remember, probably the end of elementary school, and she's been singing for a very long time, and I guess it finally clicked and we're like, oh, let's do it together.
I would say our first performance, it was a very small crowd, but we were surprised that people were telling us which songs they liked and stuff like that, because we've never experienced that before, so it's really like strange to have somebody saying, oh, I like that song called Autumn, and you're just like, whoa, you like something I made? Our band is called Funk Soul Love. Tim Subi is the song composer and bassist. Zach Camara is the drummer and the producer. David Dormon is the lyricist and MC, and I am lyricist and vocalist.
It's a creative release. All of the midterm papers that we have to write, the papers on comparative politics in the Middle East, we don't have to do that. This is what we're feeling at the time. When we write about how life affects us. We get to put it to music and let the world hear it. And it's the best feeling in the world, especially getting to do it with the people you love.
So we picked up the sword, he's walking with both bars, cocked it, I just won't back, stop the lady that's crossed the back, lifted his face and
Funk Soul Love won the Battle of the Bands contest at Tufts, and then had the opportunity to take on the bigger schools of Boston in a citywide contest.
Feels great to represent Tufts on stage, because we do get to play against D1 schools and certain things like that in track and field, but not during the whole year, and they're not necessarily coming out to get us, and that's not our main competition. So when we get to do that on the stage and we're on the same playing field and we know we can beat them, or we know we're just as good, it's a great feeling, and it's a great feeling to carry the Tufts banner on our back.
The group
plans on releasing an album soon, and among the early buyers are sure to be Paula's and David's coaches.
I think the sport naturally carries over to kind of anything you'd want to do, and I think that gives her sort of that inner strength and confidence to go out and do stuff that may make other people feel shy. I think there's a huge carryover between that and what she does musically.
She is excited on stage, she's loose and relaxed, and she needs to be all of these things during track meets.
I would say that being on a team translates well to being on the band because we learn a lot about teamwork, organization, being on time, listening to each other, not like no attitude and all of that. And I think that translates well to Funk Soul Love.
Her being an econ major or me being a political science major has definitely made me more enlightened when it comes to writing my lyrics. I talk about it in some of my raps, and I talk about not liking math and different things like that. So I feel like it definitely plays a role in that. I've learned a lot from Tufts, and I portray that in my raps.
There is, however, one subject matter that is off limits for David.
I haven't dissed any professors yet because I like my GPA where it's at.